Welcome back, my mud-streaked philosophers, roadside prophets, and quietly brilliant survivalists in disguise. I'm Hobo Yeti, and before we dive into today's special blend of anger and dark roast humor, I want you to take a breath. Not the kind you take when you walk into a bank lobby or your ex texts, "We need to talk." No, I mean a real breath. One you earned by not dying this week. Because today, we're going to talk about a subject that might make some people clench their freedom fries: homelessness. But more specifically, the idea that homelessness is somehow the problem, that we, the tents, the tarps, the ghosts in the tree line, are the infection. What if I told you that's backward? What if I told you homelessness isn't the problem? Capitalism is? I know, that's a sentence that gets people fired from dinner parties and shadow banned by their uncle. But hang tight, we're not just going to say it, we're going to prove it with statistics, with sarcasm, with Nutella packets and soul-deep exhaustion. And by the end of this video, if you're still clutching your pearls, maybe check if those pearls were made in a sweatshop. Just saying. Less than 1% of the US federal budget goes to food assistance like SNAP. Another 2% is scattered across things like housing vouchers, job training, and yeah, those mythical Obama phones that conservatives think are hand-forged by Satan himself. Meanwhile, the Department of Defense is eating over 50% of discretionary spending just to build faster ways to explode sand. But sure, let's talk about how much I cost you. People act like I personally siphoned gas out of their sedan so I could buy a Nutella packet and a pair of dry socks. You'd think I was walking around with a golden shovel digging holes in the economy. But here's the truth. You're not paying for me. Your $2,000 refund check didn't disappear because I bought a second-hand sleeping bag. It vanished into a bank executive's bonus and a missile shaped like a middle finger. Why is it people get mad at folks surviving with nothing, but not at billionaires hoarding everything? Why is a guy eating soup behind a gas station lazy, but a corporation laying off 10,000 workers is strategic restructuring? Why is it that me getting help to eat is theft, but Walmart underpaying employees so badly they qualify for food stamps is just smart business? 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Half the country couldn't survive a $500 emergency without crying in the bathtub. And yet we still cling to this cartoonish belief in the self-made man, like success is a vending machine, insert work ethic, receive yacht. But here's a reality check. Most people born poor stay poor, not because they didn't hustle, but because the game was rigged before they rolled the dice. I didn't fall behind. I got disqualified by a system that mistakes struggle for weakness. So why is it we still worship billionaires like they're prophets, while the guy sleeping in the woods is treated like a failed species? Why is it that we glorify a dude who started with millions and bought a company, but vilify the guy who started with nothing and made it 4 winters under a tarp with 2 shirts and a jet boil? I've been told to pull myself up by bootstraps. Cool. First, find me a damn boot. And second, how does that even work? How do you pull yourself up using the thing your foot is already in? That's not advice. It's a Zen riddle for people who've never missed a meal. The US ranks number 1 in military spending. We also rank 39th in healthcare, 20th in education, and top 5 in income inequality, depending on how many yachts Bezos buys that quarter. But hey, we've got the best streaming services, right? You can watch 4 different documentaries about serial killers while you ration out a Nutella packet under a highway overpass. Tell me, is that freedom? Is that greatness? Because if greatness means hospitals you can't afford, schools that funnel you into debt, and politicians who think homeless veteran is just a quirky oxymoron, then sure, we're winning. Why is it that we measure greatness by how big our missiles are, but not by how many of our people are sleeping on concrete? Why is it that a country can build drones that recognize your face, but can't figure out how to keep a human being from dying of exposure behind a Walgreens? There are 5 vacant homes in this country for every 1 homeless person. 5. whole homes, with kitchens, carpets, electrical outlets, the kind of luxuries you forget exist when you're living in a tent that smells like mildew and resentment, and yet we're told there's no room. Nah, there's room. What we don't have is profit and compassion. I've stayed in shelters. Some are better than others, but a lot of them, they're lockdowns with Bible verses, curfews like juvenile hall, confiscated gear, overcrowded rooms, one staff member for 50 broken people, and if you're lucky, a graham cracker and some righteous shame. So we opt out. We choose the woods, the quiet, the risk. Not because we're feral animals, but because the system built to help us feels more like a trap with paperwork. Why is it that a country that can 3D print a house can't let me sleep in peace without zip ties and a trespass notice? This is what survival looks like now. Not the sexy kind with flint and steel and a guy named Chad wearing $400 cargo pants. No, this is duct tape on your shoes, a cart that squeaks like betrayal, a battery pack more sacred than religion, and a cache of Nutella you guard like it's Bitcoin in pudding form. I didn't train for this. I adapted. Because the truth is, if you want to survive capitalism, you don't prep, you vanish, you learn to be light, mobile, quiet, you memorize drainage ditches, you sleep under trees, you whisper to the moon, you become invisible because visibility gets you ticketed, beaten, or worse, lectured by someone who thinks being poor is a choice. Why is it that living like this, off-grid and alone, is seen as deviance, while wage slavery, burnout, and landlord worship is called success? So let me ask you, if you lost everything tomorrow, not theoretically, but really lost it all, do you know what you'd do? Do you know where you'd go, what you'd eat, how you'd stay dry, how you'd stay sane? Do you still believe this system will catch you, or are you starting to suspect it never had a net at all? I'm not the failure, I'm the proof that the game isn't fair, that the dream is deferred, that the empire has no clothes, and the guy pointing it out is eating Nutella behind a bush and still somehow smiling. Homelessness isn't the crisis. The crisis is a society that accepts it as normal, inevitable, and somehow our fault. I'm Hobo Yeti, and I didn't script this to make you sad. I made it to make you think. I made it to hold up a mirror smudged with ash and dirt and a few questionable stains, and ask, is this the world we agreed to, or is this the best illusion money could buy? So if you're housed, I hope you see me a little clearer now, and if you're out here walking the same cracked road I am, I hope you know you're not alone. I hope your road is a good one. And if you're homeless, I hope it doesn't suck for you. Peace.